That's the basic question. Is our profession is the one which is recognized? Do people realize the kind of contributions that we make to the society? Mr. Mundle very correctly mentioned that when it comes to national recognitions, then probably engineers, contractors, consultants, these are the people who are the least recognized persons. When it comes to earning the material wealth, possibly we are the least provided for community in the country, for that matter. Why is it so? Possibly it is because of the huge numbers that we have. Possibly it is the way we look at professionalism. Possibly it is the way the government doesn't understand about it. And how long can we continue living like this? That's a very major question. The things still were manageable when we had limited number of engineers, because at least there was a recognition in the sense that yes, we do need an engineer and there are few engineers, and therefore my contemporaries and my predecessors certainly had a good time in the sense that our voice was recognized, people listened to us, and when we said that this is correct or incorrect, people listened to us. But unfortunately, that's not the kind of situation now. We have something what you call, quote unquote, dime a dozen engineers, and 1.6 million engineers joining the workforce every year in this country makes it even worse for that matter. Especially when you know that the quality of education is not good, the level of professionalism that is very good, and the things are really going wrong. So where does it take all of us as professionals for that matter? So bound by this particular requirement, we decided that if the government doesn't listen to us, then we need to take matters in our own hands. And the fillip came, very interestingly, in the month of November 2015, and all that you are seeing today is happening post-November 2015 only. We had the annual convention of ECI, and as the chief guest we had invited Honorable Union Minister for Railways, Mr. Suresh Prabhu, who I hold in personal great regard and esteem as a great professional. And as a matter of ritual, while we were talking, we just requested that why would you not help us get the engineers' bill from the government? And Mr. Prabhu came out with a very different perspective altogether. He said, please answer me few questions, and then I will be in a position to do whatever you want me to do. And I know personally that Mr. Prabhu is a person who honors his words. He is not a person who just makes empty rhetoric. So he asked precisely 4 questions. He said, tell me, if tomorrow we have a council created the way you people want and a bill created, then who is going to be running and manning and putting up the rules to administer the profession of engineers? Who is going to be? Is it not that the people who are sitting under this roof, they are the ones who are going to do it? We said, yes, sir, that is very right. He said, number 2, haven't you seen the kind of fate of other professional bills that the government has put their hands in? Like the bill creating the Medical Council of India, the bill creating the Council of Architecture, or the Council of Nursing, or the Council of XYZ kind of professions. He said that majority of these institutions are mired in one controversy or the other. There is always a situation where someone who is sitting from the government, who has a bureaucratic approach, he is the one who basically calls the shots. So eventually, you would have created a monster. Is it correct or not? Obviously, the answer was yes. And then he picked up from something which I was narrating while welcoming him. He said that you are, as CIDC, the largest organization which has created the largest force of work persons who are skill tested, trained and certified. So much so that majority of the prime engineering departments, which includes CPWD, which includes railways, which include military engineer services, they have brought out a condition in their contract documents that on every contract there should be 25% of the workers who are skill tested and certified. He said, who prevents you to put in such a condition of procurement? And I think it is very logical when I am speaking to our friends who are in the business of consultancy, a powerful weapon that you have in your own hands, and that is to create the tender documents. Why could it not be one of the requirements of procurement itself, where you can say that apart from trained workers, skilled workers, we also will be looking for professional engineers? That's very much within you. And then we ended up laughing at ourselves that something which was well within our own hands, we were asking someone else to help us out with. Why would we do that? And the only explanation that I had was of Lord Hanuman. Lord Hanuman happens to be the only god who doesn't know that what exactly are his capabilities. I'm sure many of you would be knowing the story that how exactly was it that Lord Hanuman, who was born as one of the most powerful, physically and mentally and otherwise, such a powerful god, had become a person who retained his power, but he was to be reminded about what he could deliver and what he could not deliver. There used to be 7 sons during those days. And Lord Hanuman, as a child, thought that they are fruits hanging from the heaven. So he started eating one son after another, and he ate almost 6 sons. And when he went out for the 7th son, all the gods were very much worried. So he went to Lord Indra and said that do something, otherwise, the world is going to be totally dark, bereft of sun. So he touched his cheek with his vajra, and Lord Hanuman fainted. And then his father, the god of winds, the Pavan Devata, he came in there and he said, you have killed my child. He said, no, I haven't killed your child. I have only touched with my vajra. He will still remain as powerful as he was, but his power he would not be able to exercise until such time somebody else tells him to do. So therefore he was told to bring Sanjeevani booty, and he got hold of Vindhyachal for that matter. And that's how he jumped to Lanka and he burnt out the entire, the paraphernalia of King Ravan, who was such a powerful king for that matter. So what I am trying to tell you today is that this is something that is inherent in you. Now let me revert back to the issue that what it is to be professional. When do you become professional really? I could issue 2,000 certificates. I can grant you many degrees and diplomas. But if you are not a professional, you are not a professional. It's as simple as that. You may hold series of degrees and diplomas, and all of us know that these degrees and diplomas are useless if you are not able to deliver something for the benefit of the society that we come from, for the fraternity that we live together in, and things like that. Probably I personally happen to be a much decorated person. I have been receiving laurels from many organizations, but I still remain the same. I am still the civil engineer, that's it. I am still the person who's curious to build things. And after much thought, I realized that to be professional, and when exactly you become professional is the day that you stop serving anybody else other than yourself. The day you say that I am not happy with the work that I have done, I am rejecting it, that is the day when you become truly a professional. You have plenty of professionals in your neighborhood who do not have the recognition, but they enjoy the respect in the society, which me and you cannot even think about. The smallest example I will give you is that panwala who sits there. Look at the panwala. His business is to make pan according to the specifications which vary from customer to customer. His customer goes to his shop, he doesn't go to his customer. There is 100% replacement warranty that he gives you. If you do not like the pan that he has supplied, he will ask you to throw it out, to spit it out, and he will replace it 100%. And what is the outcome? The outcome is very simple. He doesn't employ salespersons. You, as the customer, is his best salesperson. Because you go back home, you meet up with your friends, and you tell everybody that if you want to have the best pan in Nagpur, then let us go to XYZ shop. That is the recognition that you have. It's a small thing, a very, very small, insignificant thing, but it tells you that the day you start serving only yourself for your own satisfaction, you become a professional. That's the crux of the whole thing. Let's look at the kind of full perspective, the realm that we are living in. What is it? I am a consultant. I am charged with the responsibility of giving a beautiful solution to a customer who admits the day he appoints me as his consultant that he doesn't know the technology. He doesn't know how to basically get the product that he is looking for. He admits that he is deficient, and that's the reason why he is giving you the responsibility to become his advisor, his mentor, his technology supplier, and everything rolled in one. Now we look at the assignment only as a pure commercial assignment. We say that there is a fee that he has to pay to us, and this is the design that I have to give to him. And nothing goes beyond that. But the moment you start traveling beyond that, say for an example, the moment you insist that the work that you have done through designing a particular structure is executed by the people who are professionals. After all, I and you can always sit in an office and make design of a very beautiful building. But if it is not translated on the ground, so who has to be professional? Let us begin with the worker himself. A worker has to be professional. A supervisor has to be professional. An engineer has to be professional. The contractor has to be professional. And what do? We don't check the antecedents of these people, not try to see that what are the kind of ingredients that you require to prepare the final solution. That's the kind of point that we have. There is another problem that we have. We acquire the degree or the diploma. And many of us, we continue acquiring degrees and diplomas, especially when I speak to the young people. And I'm sure if you would be having sons or daughters or nephews or nieces, they will tell you the same thing, that we have done the BTech, now we are preparing for GATE, and we will go and do our MTech, and after that we may do PhD, and after that we may do some postdoctoral work and things like that, because they study in the hope that they will be able to get a stable and a good job which is going to bring them the glory. But fact of the matter is that those diplomas, degrees are not going to help them if they are not able to deliver professionally to somebody. That's something which is extremely, extremely important. That is what we have to understand. I have been meeting many young people, and what I have realized is that they study only to acquire a degree. Let us come to the mid-level executives or mid-level professionals. They virtually stop studying the day they graduate. The education, the passage of education stops. Cross your chest, think about it. You will find that many of us, we don't grow. That's a fact of life. And growing does not only mean that we are happy to know some new technologies that are happening somewhere in Zululand or some other country. We don't look at our own systems and we don't look at changing those systems to make them conducive for our kind of working. That is non-professionalism. So therefore, post-acquisition of qualification, it is absolutely imperative that for the entire life of ours, the studies, the education, the teaching, it has to go inter alia. It cannot stop. That flow of knowledge has to go on. Communities have only become great in this world, and engineering community is no exception. Communities have only become great when they study, when they educate themselves, when they start thinking, when they question, when they argue, and when they find solutions for the situation. I give you this hilarious example which came to my desk about 10 years ago. Many of my class fellows, they chose to go to serve the civil services in the country. And it happened that in one of the North Indian states, the Principal Secretary of Public Works Department happened to be a hostel mate of mine and a good friend. And one fine morning he called me up and he said, our contract document and standard operating procedures in Public Works Department, they appear to be somewhat old, and I would like you to have a look at them.